I came out early this morning because we're expecting rain and I needed to dump out that mulch that's in that wheelbarrow so it didn't fill up with water. We haven't had a really good rain since last November at least. Maybe December. I don't remember for absolute sure, but it's been a long time. This ground is so dry. The only water in here is water that I put on it, basically. These are my sunflowers. I had a pill bug girdle that sunflower right there the other day, and I just propped it up on the fence. I'm going to get a chopstick or something and try to save it. These are the smaller sunflowers, the autumn beauties. I think there might be a Russian. I think there's one or might be a Russian giant in here. Not sure. Yeah, I get mixed up. There's so many plants. I planted 500 plants this year. So this is my cantaloupe bed. There's also some potatoes that I had left over planted in here, hoping for a miracle. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I put about 3 or 4 inches of leaves on this bed because when you let it sit bare, you have to water it every day for nothing, basically. And basically, I put these leaves on a week ago and haven't had to water it since. And this little bed here has some flower bulbs in it. I bought some bulbs last fall and left them in the garage all winter and didn't plant them, which wasn't good. Actually, they weren't even in the garage, they were in the house. So it would have been better if they were in the garage, actually, because they would have gotten chill hours. So anyway, yeah, we got cantaloupes going here. This is some leftover. I didn't plant this. These are like garlic bulbils that came up from garlic that are elephant garlic that I grew here before. And over there, that's a lot of garlic chives that I've had here for, I don't know, probably 10 years, close to 10 years, 8 years or something like that. And there's some, I don't know what that is. It's some kind of garlic. It's either elephant garlic or regular garlic. I don't know. But that's like, if you plant garlic and when you pull it, it'll leave little bulbils, they're called, in the ground, and they regrow. So that's what that is. This is a couple of lemon balm plants here. There's some onion chives there. And these plants here you see are dill. And there's a few. I think those are daffodils. I just put this little fence thing to keep the dogs from walking over it. They're pretty good about that, but I don't let them in here that much anyway. My sago that got frostbitten is coming out with a new set of fronds, which is nice to see. And the one that, you know, this one isn't as hardy of a plant for some reason. It's right next to it. You know, in-ground conditions or something, but this one hasn't started yet. That's normal. That's what they do. These are Yukon gold potatoes. They're starting to come up out of the ground. There's one, and well, there's one. And this is my tunnel, my squash tunnel. We really can't grow squash here because we have a problem with these bugs called squash vine borers. They look like orange and black wasp, but they're really a moth. And what they do is they plant their eggs on the stems of, so far my experience is either yellow squash, or summer squash, or zucchinis, and then the eggs hatch and the little larvae bore their way into the stalk of the plant right at the base and eat their way to adulthood, and while doing that, killing the plant. So you can, basically what happens is you have a vibrant, beautiful plant growing, and then you come out the next day and it's laying on the ground dead. They're disgusting. So here's my trick. So I have pepper plants planted at the end of the tunnel, and the tunnel, the air can get through there pretty good. You can't completely cover it up because it gets so hot here to kill the plants. But I have peppers on on both ends of the tunnel. I have like 4 pepper plants in here. These are, let's see, those are Tabasco peppers. And then there's a couple of other peppers in here. They're either bananas or bells. And then in the middle down there, you can see the yellow squash blossoms. Those are male blossoms, so there's no chance that I'm keeping the pollinators off them. Plus there's crawly pollinators too. Not all pollinators fly. So anyway, I'll hand pollinate them when the female flowers. It doesn't really matter until then anyway. I'll hand pollinate them. We'll get a few squash. Eventually the squash vine borers will kill them, and then luckily I don't like squash that much anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Over here we have some tulips that I also were a part of that bulb thing, and like there's a big tulip plant right there that doesn't even have a flower on it, which is interesting yet. We'll see. I've never grown bulbs before. There's a couple of sunflower plants I put in the end of this bed, and that's spearmint, I think. Little cilantro there. And these were paper white daffodils, which already bloomed. And so what happens is they are building their bulbs for next year. Once the green foliage dies back, I'm going to pull them out of the ground and throw them in the trash. This is sage, and sage is a biennial. It flowers the second year. So this has been here in this pot all through last summer and this spring, and it is now flowering. It was out in my regular vegetable garden, but I brought it up here so we could enjoy the blooms. I get a little hanging planter with some Mexican mint marigold in it. Those plants are very sensitive, so far I've got a few good ones going now. And this is my cilantro, which is bolted and is making coriander seeds, as you can see. Those will dry and we'll use those probably to plant more cilantro, most likely. I don't use coriander much in cooking, but that's just something I don't really know about. And these are my other potted plants. I have a lot of potted plants this year. Big marigold, some onion chives. I'll move those into the garden eventually when I figure out where I want them. That's spearmint. And that right there is a plant called cilantro, which is an herb, and it tastes like cilantro, but it's a lot more potent. And these are the prettiest ones I've grown so far. They're really nice. I like these. I'm going to keep growing that stuff. And then cilantro right next to it. Some more spearmint. Let's see, we got some parsley and basil and hyssop. No, that's a lavender plant. Lavender's really hard to grow from seed, but I did get one to come, and you can make clones of it. So this is anyway, never mind, I won't go too much into that. Hyssop, another marigold, and this is what's left of my seedlings that I told you I grew a bunch of plants. There's like 6 hyssop plants there, 8 sage, a couple, those are, here's Penny. Those are Malabar spinach that I've got to figure out where I'm going to put them. And then over here, I've got my sweet potato starts. But I already pulled a bunch of these, and they're rooting in on the windowsill. They won't root until you pull them out of the sweet potato. There's a sweet potato buried in the ground here, and it's making shoots. And you can see a piece of the sweet potato right there. It's making shoots, and I've already pulled like 6 or 7 of them off them. I don't need more than that. Sweet potatoes love the heat, and they survive drought and all that stuff. So what's going to happen is I'm going to plant these in some of my beds that are going to empty out, or like the spinach and lettuce beds and stuff like that. I have one lone loofah plant left. Looks like something's been chewing on that. I'll have to look in that and see if there's a little worm in there or something. Here's another loofah plant that is going to grow up this fence. I had a loofah plant I grew a few years ago that grew up that tree right there. And it was all the way up there. It was like 30 feet up into the tree. with these beautiful yellow blooms on it. Just one of the most amazing, most beautiful flowering plants that I've seen in Central Texas since I've lived here. I said it's in my yard. Guess that's all. That's about all for now. Just wanted to make a little video. I'm not even sure why I make these videos, but it seems like maybe I just don't have anybody to talk to. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.